What are you going to do if illegal activity happens while you are shooting?
I have to keep shooting. I think you have a responsibility, and you go wide. You just go wide as possible, and you back up to a corner so there's no one behind you.
You're listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast with Lindsay and Tim.
Welcome back to the Shoot Your Shot podcast. My name is Tim.
My name's Lindsay.
We are the community-driven podcast for photographers just like you. Weddings and portraits for the most part. We don't talk about gear. Sometimes we do. Last week we did a little bit.
Pretty much every week we end up somehow in a roundabout way talking about gear, but our goal is to engage with our community,
yes,
to have our finger on the pulse of what's going on for photographers around the world and what's happening for us in our businesses that might be helpful for you. And at the very least, we're going to add a little bit of levity to some of the nonsense that we experience in our lives as photographers.
If you're new to the show, we're great to listen to while you're at it or while you drive to a wedding. So tune in every Monday. We start the episode of every show, every season 2, by rolling the magic 8 ball. Lindsay, thoughts, feelings? What do you want to ask our higher power, the magic 8 ball?
Okay.
Here?
Well, I have a bit of an editing queue at the moment, so maybe we should ask. Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah.
It do be August. I'm running into September real soon here, and at the moment, I would just like to know: will it ever end?
Will it end? Will we get to see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Can we see the end of it at some point? I would love to see the end of it.
I mean, everything ends, right?
Well, I mean, the problem with seeing the end of your editing queue means that you haven't been shooting, so there's that also. So
can you read that? I can. This is really fogging up. We need a new 8 ball. If you're out there and you have a 8 ball you can customize for us and send
my
to us.
reply is no.
Okay,
but you know what? That's fair, because in me figuring out, do I really want my editing queue to end, I realize that having no editing to do means that you have not had any shoots to do, or somehow, I don't know, you're super
What a lovely way to butter that bread.
Yeah, so there you go. The editing queue exists, and that's okay.
Persists and exists. But we have an interesting question from a lovely fan from Mexico.
Mexico City.
Daniel?
What's up, Daniel?
Let's just jump into it. You want to read this one?
I would love to. Let's see how my reading comprehension skills are today. Okay. Hi, Lindsay and Tim. I'm really happy to be writing to you. Greetings from Mexico City. I'm a huge fan of the podcast. I listen religiously every Monday, and I love you guys so much. Haha.
That's nice.
We wrote that ourselves. I just finished today's episode, and it inspired me to share something that happened to me just about a week ago. I'm a beginner photographer. 2025 is my first year taking my business more seriously, and I'm trying to build it the right way. Slay, Daniel.
Congrats.
Fortunately, I've been booking clients and gaining experience. So 2 months ago, I ran a couple of meta ads, and one of the couples who reached out ended up hiring me for their pre-wedding session with the hope of booking me for their actual wedding day as well. At first, all the communication was with the bride, who honestly was a bit ... let's just say ambiguous at times. I just figured she was more reserved. The day of the session came and everything went perfectly. The groom was super friendly, and I ended up getting along really well with the both of them. They loved the photos, so a few days later I started the conversation about booking the wedding with the groom. The negotiation was moving slowly, but it was moving forward, and from what they told me, I was one of their finalists. However, the very day the groom was about to confirm the reservation, he just stopped answering. I tried reaching out again, but never got a response, so I assumed they decided to go with someone else.
Good on you. First of all, just to stop right there, Daniel.
Yes.
Good on you for reaching out and being
persistent,
following up and persistent. We deal with a lovely man on the street here named Dave. We call him Outside Dave, and he's always looking for a coffee. He's looking for spare change. He's a very towering, tall man, but today he was very persistent about getting a coffee from us later in the day, and he wanted to know when we'd be coming back to the Starbucks to get.
I really appreciated that, and I was like, honestly, Dave would if we put Dave in an office, gave him like a Patagonia vest, this guy would crush tech sales.
Put him to work for Focal. If you're out there listening to this,
if you guys need somebody, we've got Uptown Dave. He might honestly be really good for it. Like a little unreliable, I would say at times, and honestly a little bit jarring.
Probably high.
He does like to yell at you.
Oh yeah.
But every single morning, Tim and I walk down to our local Starbucks and we grab coffee, and he's always sitting there. He's very consistent in that fact.
He's very consistent. He shows up on time, so he might be high, but he'll be there at the office or wherever the office might be.
But we were saying, man, this guy is persistent, because we said, oh, you know what? Sorry, we already grabbed our coffee. Like we snuck by him when we first walked in, and he said, oh, well, when are you going to be back? And I was like, later this afternoon. He's like, what time?
What time?
He said, what time are you guys coming back? I just want to, I just want to get a good grasp on that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, that's the kind of guy you want doing your sales.
Yeah. So Daniel, good for you. First year in business. Congratulations on being
You're
more
nailing it.
persistent and following up with couples. That's something I wish I would have done earlier on. I just kind of let it go and let them kind of steer the boat. But good for you. Back to the story here.
And honestly, if you hadn't been following up, we wouldn't be here. So let me tell you the rest of this, because wow, didn't this just get really weird really fast? So we've ended with Daniel saying that he has responded a few times. He followed up a few times. He's never gotten a response. So he just assumed they went with somebody else. So I focused on other clients and projects. Then out of the blue last week, the bride contacted me again. I replied kindly, and she told me that she had just gotten out of prison and that her fiance was still in there and wasn't being allowed to leave. According to her, they were facing serious charges, but supposedly with no evidence. She reached out to let me know that the wedding wasn't going to happen on the scheduled date and that she thought that her fiance had already signed the contract and made the reservation with me. I had to tell her that no contract had been signed and no deposit had been made. I was honestly a bit shocked because on one hand, my country is as beautiful as it is, but I've definitely heard more than a few stories of innocent people being accused. On the other hand, there are also plenty of cases where people who seem completely normal are actually involved in serious crimes. Realizing that my clients might be in that situation felt very strange. So it left me wondering, what should you do when a client gets into legal trouble? Should I still use those photos of them in my portfolio? What if they had signed a contract and paid the deposit and then this happened? Should I add a clause about this to my contract? Haha, it's definitely a situation I never imagined would happen to me, but well, here we are. Maybe it sounds silly or unlikely to happen to anyone else, but just in case it helps, I wanted to share my story. Sending you both a big hug, a big hello, and big thank you so much for the podcast. It's truly amazing. Love you guys. Danielle Nunez. Thank you so much for this
incredible story.
Incredible
and it's
story.
At Daniel Nunez,
WP.
WP.
NUNEZWP. Daniel, wow.
Wow, dude.
Okay, Tim.
First of all, thank you for tuning in. Love that for us and for you.
First initial thoughts, please.
First initial thoughts are wild. And
this is lore.
I want to know more.
You know when people say, what's your craziest story?
Yes.
And we always struggle. We tell them about the
Yeah.
glass bottom boat wedding.
Yeah.
That was like the band only knew breakup songs.
Yes. So this is a glass bottom boat where the band only played breakup songs, live band, and they covered the glass bottom boat with cake pops.
A dessert
different
table
desserts. Yeah.
instead of having a glass bottom boat.
The whole point of having a glass
and we
bottom
were
boat.
trapped on the glass bottom boat.
Oh God, for like 2 extra hours, extra hours?
Because
Insane.
we were hired for like 6 or something hours.
Can't get off the boat.
You can't leave a boat. So I bring that one up. But this is a thing that was like more than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I struggle to remember the craziest shit, but this one is lore. And
Yeah.
I really, I remember other people's crazy stories more
Yes.
than my own. And I think that's probably a trauma response of some of the
compartmentalizing things that shouldn't be happening. Yeah.
We did
Yeah.
have a wedding that didn't happen,
We
right?
did.
A bride that
was just more sad. That was just like a crazy
Again,
circumstance, right?
Yeah. She didn't die. They
No.
actually did get married. They signed the paperwork and everything, but her anxiety got the best of her.
Yeah.
She did not want to stand up in front of hundreds of people.
She was deathly ill.
Girl wanted to
Yeah.
elope and her parents talked her out of it.
Yeah.
So to me, I say your parents sucked. We have a few good stories.
Yeah.
I have yet to have a client not sign their contract or make their payment
Because of prison sentences.
due to prison time.
2 prison sentences by the bride and the groom.
By the bride and the groom.
Yeah.
And okay, so
You've been to Mexico several times.
yes.
I feel like you understand the landscape a bit more than I do.
Yeah.
In terms of what you see on a daily basis.
Sure.
You've been not witness to crimes happening, but to things happening that are a bit like, oh, that's maybe a bit interesting, maybe a bit cartel connected.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, Daniel noted perfectly, like he loves his country. It's beautiful. And
He's
things like
heard
this
some
happen.
shit.
People, innocent people get accused of stuff all the time. And then also seemingly normal
Yeah.
people get accused for good reasons.
So, I mean, my experience is obviously not as a resident.
Yeah.
So I have been warned of things by locals. I've
Sure.
also been privy to hearing stories of things that have happened to friends of mine that by association, they get themselves into bad situations, or they had a friend, like one of my friends was stopped by the police and roughed up and robbed.
Wow.
So Mexico is a phenomenal place, but as one of my taxi drivers told me when he was offering me an off the market COVID test in case I ever needed a negative COVID test to get home during COVID.
You want a bag of blood just in case?
I was like, no, I'm good. I actually don't have COVID, so I'll just get a negative COVID swab myself. But thank you for the offer.
Wow.
And I was like, that's crazy. Like I said I didn't know you could do that. And he said we invented corruption. Of course you can.
You're welcome.
And listen, I don't know that Mexico can really say they invented corruption,
No,
but I
there's a
will
ton of
say
corrupt places.
I will say that I think that they do have a bit of a corruption problem within their police force. And honestly, I think probably a lot of our police forces have that. Mexico's is just more known.
Yeah.
So there's lots of great cops out there, but
What's that movie from the 90s where the two girls go to like Thailand and they get like someone sneaks cocaine or heroin into their bags and they get arrested, they go to jail. It's like it's based on a true story.
I wouldn't doubt it for a
second. But they were framed as like mules basically. And then they get thrown in prison at the Thailand airport and they're like one's sentenced to death.
Spoiler alert. Okay.
One's like life in prison.
To look this up.
And like
it sounds like my
the court case goes on. It's wild. I think it's like not Nev Campbell, someone like that. Like a Nev Campbell type in the 90s. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to look it up because it sounds like something I would enjoy for sure.
Yeah.
So basically what I've always been told as a non-resident, but somebody that frequents Mexico often, is just like keep your head down. Don't give the police a reason to stop you. So don't be wasted alone on a beach. Don't buy and sell drugs. Because I think, I had, this was actually at a wedding, so this is slightly topical, but we did have friends of friends that were trying to buy weed from somebody on the beach and they were stopped by police while they were just trying to buy weed. I'm not suggesting that should be decriminalized, but it should be. Yeah. And they were trying to buy weed and they got stopped by the police and the police planted cocaine on them and said,
"What's this?
How much would you be willing to pay to not go to prison tonight?"
Yeah.
And they got themselves in a really bad situation. And to me, I'm just like, if you're not doing things that are illegal in a country, then the police won't have a reason to try to mess with you.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Generally speaking.
You're not standing out, right?
I have not been stopped by the police randomly.
Okay.
When I go out with like my girlfriends and we're walking home late at night, if we see the police coming down the road, we'll probably just go down another road just because I'm not really interested in having a conversation.
No.
So that is my foreigner's perspective.
Yeah.
I imagine that if the police are willing to pin something on somebody that's from outside of the country, they're probably less likely to do it to people in their own country. I don't know. I could be wrong.
They probably know someone, especially if it's their own neighborhood, right? They work in the beat which they live.
Yes.
Likelihood it's a cousin or something.
I digress. Let's work under the assumption that these people are legitimate criminals because we don't know.
We're going to go that way.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's what we do.
Guilty until proven innocent. All right. Let's do it.
I
love it. No,
why wouldn't I? Sure. Literally, why wouldn't I? It's my podcast. I can do whatever.
Well, 50%. It's
fine. Hours. I think that it really doesn't matter to me as the photographer if you are guilty or innocent. Have you signed a contract? Yes or no?
Yes.
Have you paid me? Yes or no? In this scenario.
Yeah.
I feel like this conversation, and he brought up some really valid points of like, what would have happened if I did sign if they had signed the contract. And then I found out well, first of all, if they signed the contract, you probably wouldn't have found out that they were in prison unless, he's not going to get out of prison. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully he does get out. Hopefully he's not in there for the rest of his eternity.
Let's hope.
Unless he's a really bad dude, in which case, I don't know.
I imagine they booked a venue at this point. They booked other vendors.
I would imagine.
Maybe second or third thing you look at.
And she's reaching out thinking, hey, I just want to let you know the wedding's off. And he's like, okay, cool. It doesn't impact me.
I don't know what
I
to
wasn't
tell you.
signed.
So yeah, the point is, I think what Daniel's here driving at, and he says so in black and white here, can he use those photos for a portfolio? Because this is his first year.
Yeah, so his first questions are, what should you do if your client gets into legal trouble?
Yeah.
Should I still use these photos in my portfolio?
Yeah.
What if they had signed a contract? Should I add these to my contract? Okay, why don't we go down one by one on this list?
From the top.
What should you do if a client gets into legal trouble? Well,
confirm that they're your client first and foremost.
Right.
Technically, they're not in this case.
But if Tim, if you had a client that was actually your client, and then you see the news, they've been arrested for drug trafficking.
Okay,
what's your move? Okay, two scenarios. What's your move? Two scenarios. One,
I call you.
They are.
I say, Lindsay,
what
guess
do I do?
what we're talking about on a podcast this week.
I can't wait. Honestly, I hope it happens for us.
That'd be nice.
But Okay, so two scenarios, two
Okay.
hypotheticals.
Yeah.
One is your client has been arrested for drug trafficking.
And the wedding's off.
They will be out for the wedding.
Okay.
One scenario, they have been arrested for drug trafficking. They won't be out.
Okay. So I think I'd respond with thank you for letting me know. I hope you're okay. Are you planning on rescheduling? When do you want to do
Should
this?
you cancel because you're marrying a drug trafficker?
What do you want to do
What are your next steps?
What are your next steps? I understand that maybe you're not going to make it for the date because you'll be in handcuffs or like on whatever kind of situation. Maybe you're probation at that point. But what do you want to do? I'll ask them, put the ball kind of in their court and find out what it is that they perceive to be next steps.
Yes.
Because I don't know what to do. To me, that means that the contract's null and void, like the date's canceled, and either we can reschedule for a scheduling fee, or we can just call it
You're
what
going
it
to
is.
reschedule
and
them.
move on.
Okay, interesting.
I would
So
reschedule.
here's
What
a-
wouldn't you?
here's a-
If
well-
we had a good time during the
You're vibing.
engagement session, and they're lovely people, a lot of politicians are criminals. They elected one, right? In the states.
I guarantee we have worked with people that
He's not a
have
good guy.
been.
I'm not saying he's a
that-
good guy. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I guarantee we've worked with people that have been involved in things that we aren't aware of.
Here's the thing.
I'm not out here doing criminal background checks on all
and we
of
don't
my
have time
clients.
for that. And
No.
I've been told by pretty much everyone I put a microphone on, because I do video as well. We better not talk about the crimes, and then jokingly people will say that groomsmen or brides
Except
will
the
say
one time that
And then
wasn't.
the one time he did. He had such an ego on him, this man.
We had a groom a couple of years ago.
And he was a bit of an older gentleman, maybe middle-aged. And I put a mic on him, and as I'm putting the mic on him, he's like, you better not record me when I'm saying some things that were criminal activity. I'm like, I honestly don't care. And if he did, I wouldn't listen to it.
But this guy actually
immediately
was
turned
giving
to
off
his-
like mob boss a little bit, like maybe not mob boss, but like mob
wannabe
adjacent,
boss. And so he
adjacent.
turned to his friend immediately before I'd left earshot and be like, let me tell you a crime I committed, basically. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna listen to that later. And he talked about how someone was wrongly accused of a crime that he knew about, and how incredibly important it is that this recording doesn't go anywhere. I'm like, the ego on this man was just enough to be like, let me incriminate myself immediately.
And you're like, just so
What are
you
you
know,
doing?
even if I wasn't going to do anything about this,
Now I
even
might
if it's
have to. Yeah.
I'm legally obligated to handle things here. Like if the police said, "Hey, we're wondering, if you have any video footage that might put this man with these associates, can you combine?"
And
those
you brought
two
this up.
things?
Here's a perfect clip from a dramatization of a true story.
Absolute favorite movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. Here it comes.
Barry, what's up?
Listen, got this subpoena.
Subpoena?
Yeah, the FBI, they want a copy of your wedding video.
Fucking FBI? You fucking kidding me?
Listen to me. His name is Denham. He's an agent with the New York office.
What's his problem?
He's a Boy Scout. Thinks you're Gordon Gecko.
What is wrong with my wedding video? It's like an invasion of my privacy, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's intrusive, you know?
He's got pictures of your whole inner circle. Pictures, names of the people.
Yeah, man. So that was real. That was based on real events that happened. They actually did subpoena the videographer.
Yes.
And that's how they busted him for a lot of the crimes, right?
Yes.
Because everyone you know and love is together at one day. And I'm not saying you
We're
shouldn't hire...
documenting these things.
You should still hire a videographer, because it could exonerate you. In many ways, things like this have actually helped people. There was a man who was accused of a crime. It just came up on my Instagram a couple days ago. I forgot about this story. He was accused of a crime. I think it was murder or something, or robbery.
Okay.
Great start to the story, right, Tim?
So good.
He was an extra because they were shooting an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. He was in the stands, and actually him being there at the
remember
same
this.
time as the crime was being committed, because he was being filmed at this ball game, exonerated him from this crime completely. So
Yes.
it's
So
sometimes a
if
good
you're not out committing crimes on a regular basis,
Yeah.
it's honestly going to really help you in the end.
it's
having
great to
a
have
wedding.
third-party documentation.
Yeah. Like, honestly, our lives are so heavily documented with timestamps and
Yes.
everything now that, like, even if they didn't subpoena us for photos and videos, do you think your friends and family aren't going to have iPhone footage and
Constantly.
stuff? But
Yeah.
it is much easier for the police to come to one of us and say,
Yes.
hey, I need to subpoena this, whatever.
Yeah, they'll go to the venue and say, hey, who's doing the photo, who's doing video, let's contact them. And
Yes.
then they'll get in contact with us.
So I would like to go back to the original question is, what would
Please.
you do if your clients are accused of like criminal wrongdoing, essentially,
Yeah.
or they get into legal trouble?
Okay.
And for me, it's how I make every decision in my business of, this is a new one.
Yeah, this is fun.
This is a new one.
Interesting.
I usually go back to, and like, I don't literally sit down at my desk and say, well, what are my values? But
Well,
I do try to think about it from a values driven perspective as well as a contractual perspective.
Right.
What am I contractually required to do?
Okay.
Like, what does my contract allow me to do? And what do my values tell me? Because my contract is pretty tough, to be honest. It lays things out in a way that really supports me and what I would like to have happen in any given scenario.
For sure.
Gives me the freedom to make most decisions.
yeah, under
which
act of God, right? Like
Yes.
that's a pretty broad term,
which
pretty broad clause.
then allows you to make a more values driven decision, right? So
It's not
really,
something you necessarily lean on, but it's something you could lean
Yeah.
on if you need to. So it's kind of
Which-
like a gray area you can
Yeah.
like decide to.
which kind of
Yeah.
answers the last question, which was like, do I need a clause in my contract for
Yeah.
this? Well, I would say you do not need, like, a lot of photographers will have like one insane thing happen. Like my clients ended up in jail.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time somebody has said, like, do I need a clause in my contract for this? Your contract's clauses should already cover you.
Yeah.
Should something like this happen.
Yeah.
So I would say, if your clients can no longer attend their own wedding day,
That sounds like
they
it's
have
covered.
already,
Yeah.
hopefully it's covered in your contract. They've already voided the contract by needing a new wedding date because
Yeah.
your deposit structure holds a day for that specific day. And if your clients need to change their date, it should be outlined as to what happens should you not be available,
Yeah.
if they're not available, right?
as opposed to, like,
so I don't think you have to go
specifically-
into,
Yeah.
did you do drugs? Did you do this? Have you ever looked at a woman sideways? It's not your wife. Like,
Or you went specifically into like, are you being convicted of a crime you did not commit? Check this. Like having that specific wording in your contract could be one of two things. Could scare a couple away, being like, this guy works with criminals. He's
Yes.
connected to
Yes.
a mob organization I want to be
Yes.
part of. Or two, like, hey, tell me a story. Why is this in your contract? Why
Yes.
is this specific
100%.
information
And
here?
I have that question because I have a videographer specifically named in my contract.
Not me.
And I get people saying, tell me the story about why this videographer is in here. They're just curious. Like at this point, nobody's
Those hippos,
actually trying
yeah.
to hire those idiots, but
Yeah.
they want to know the story. And honestly, I'm not afraid of telling them the story because
Yeah.
I think it outlines what I am willing and not willing to accept on a wedding day.
Yeah, and it helps like set you apart in terms of your values and what you want for the couple, right?
Yes.
You want them to have a good experience. You don't want this to be a battleground
Yes.
to not get elbowed in the face by
Yes.
someone during a first dance. It's just not your thing.
One thing that I think could be an interesting thing that I haven't considered
Okay.
is a morality clause. Okay. I'm not a very conservative person. I would say
not moral. I'm not particularly.
moral
It's a
person.
gray area.
No, well, like me saying I'm not conservative maybe says that. I don't know. I am not a particularly conservative person. I
Sure.
lean definitely more to the liberal
Yeah.
end of things for sure. With that being said, there are definitely lines that I would not choose to cross if I was given all of the information ahead of time.
Yeah.
If someone said to me that person is a convicted criminal of like sexual charges
Sure.
or some horrible
He's on a
assault
list.
or whatever,
He went to the
I would,
island.
I would choose
Yeah.
to not be associated with that person.
Yeah.
What happens if that person hires you through their partner and you don't find out until later? I don't think it's a horrible idea that you should be able to get out of that. However, you can always get out of that. You just give them their deposits back.
Yeah.
Right? And that would be the beginning and the end of the conversation for me because I wouldn't want a contract that allows me to keep their money in that instance. That would be insane.
And if you did go through with their wedding and you find out later that you are being subpoenaed by some kind of government organization who's like, hey, we need the footage.
Nothing I can do about that
also,
anyways.
we don't want to know what you were doing working with this couple, this client, this person who is a known
Sure, you are now
XYZ.
associated.
Now you're an associate of this thing and they can probably throw something at you as
and
well.
also your name can be brought into court documents,
Yeah.
which
you can be
in-
all over the news, my dude.
in our area,
Yeah.
those are public. Like
Yeah.
I have a department of like, I think it's called Department of Justice, whatever, login. It's literally anybody can do this. It's like a very easy thing.
Really?
If you live in Ontario,
Oh.
you can just
DOJ?
like, I don't think it's called the Department of Justice. I'm trying to think of what it is, but
Okay.
you can look up if anybody has been sued. And you can also look up if anybody has been charged with a crime.
Okay.
So-
Really? Okay. I don't know if you should have that.
Okay. I just signed up for it. It's like ontario.ca, like .gov. Like, it's just a thing you can sign up for because you can search for people's court cases.
Okay.
So it's a court case search. It doesn't give you every piece of information. I think you could probably get that through like the Freedom of Information Act or whatever. But like you can still look these things up. Yeah. I'm not saying that. But anyways, in being able to look people up, which I have done, I looked it up for a past decorator that we once knew that has been sued multiple times, and curiosity got me. And to be honest, I'm nothing if not an investigative journalist.
Who amongst us doesn't Google the people who inquire with us
and I
every single time? I want to know if I know them, if I've dated them. I want to know what realm in the world which I just went a little
bit further in my search.
Yeah, you went a bit deeper. That's fine. Listen, no one's questioning.
I have the resources.
If it's above board, let's do it.
Right? No, it is. It's legal because I literally it's like the Ontario court system search. Like, it's just a thing. So anyways, you can look this up.
Okay.
And what would happen then if you were involved in this somehow? You were perhaps named in a lawsuit because so-and-so was doing something criminal, and when they ended up getting sued by the plaintiff, you get sued in all the things.
Right.
This thing gets big. Yeah. So my goal is just, I don't want to work with known criminals.
No.
For sure wouldn't be my top. As far as values go, not top of my list.
No.
However, without knowing the crime that Daniel's clients are convicted of, he says they're very serious.
Yes.
But without knowing the crime
specifics,
it makes it a little bit challenging to say what I would do in this specific scenario.
Okay, let's bring it back. Your first year, you took some banger photos of this couple. You're in love with the engagement photos.
What am I going to do with the
photos? What are you going to do with them? You're going to keep them on your portfolio? You're going to just do the ones at the backs of their heads?
That one I would need to know. I would need to know what they're being accused of.
Yeah.
I really would. Mm-hmm. If they are being accused...
Human trafficking.
Yeah. If they're being accused...
War crimes?
Yeah. I would hope that I've got a few photos of them walking away.
Yeah. And honestly, those do really well.
Yeah. I would hope I had some anonymous looking images to share.
Yeah. Good banner photos for like portfolio stuff for your website are images where people can picture themselves in that situation as opposed to overanalyzing people's faces, I find. Back of the head, beautiful sunset. Like they're the train's walking behind, they're holding hands. You just see the profile of their face. Those do really well.
Yeah,
I believe.
I always like an anonymous image. Yeah. I try to take a fair amount of them at any session or whatever.
Your magazine for Pearl, I just got it yesterday, and we'll get into that. Your banner, your page has 3 images that were like people's faces are a tiny bit obstructed. I'm like, this is perfect because anyone can like
picture
put themselves in those situations,
the
and they're still gorgeous photos. But it's
Thank you so much. I've used that ad for 2 years in a row because I'm lazy and because they work. I like an anonymous image. So I would tend to say like, that would be the right move is to try to use some anonymous looking photos.
Yeah.
If there is any chance in hell that this guy is like the worst of the worst, no, I'm not using these photos because I don't want to be associated with them in any way.
No.
Until, and unfortunately, this isn't a guilty until proven innocent case for me because I wouldn't want any part in it. Yeah. Listen, Daniel, there's a lot of people in Mexico City.
1 or 2.
I would go out and do another shoot personally.
Okay.
I would go out and do another shoot. If the shoot was so sick, recreate it with another couple, find that same location, the same lighting conditions, all of that, and just put a couple in it that's not currently incarcerated.
Here's a question. Here's an idea, Daniel.
Okay.
You want to play devil's advocate. You want to get ahead of this thing because I feel like, they say any press is good press. There's been plenty of stories that have dropped because of things on social media. People posting things, breaking stories before they happen. TikTok's prime example. Do you come out with the story of, hey guys, here's a crazy thing that happened to me, and then you blow up, and then you also set yourself apart of like, don't want to work with criminals, thanks, and then you become the guy who like is not wanting to work. There's also like defamatory. There's a situation where the couple can be like, "Hey man, fuck you."
This person allegedly did this.
But
this person's allegedly part of the cartel. Maybe you create the video
and you don't post it until you know for sure that they're convicted. And then once they're convicted, it's like, "Here's my story. Here's what happened."
Tim, once they're convicted, now you know that they're part of a criminal organization or something.
I shot a wedding of a couple. I shot an engagement session of a couple who were convicted of a crime, and this is how it went. And this is because we're doing it here. We're putting it out in the world.
We don't live in Mexico City, my guy.
This is true. There's no names.
I sure as shit would not be doing it like in a place where there's organized crime literally everywhere.
Yeah, true.
If someone is involved in trafficking, in drug trafficking, human trafficking, in murder, in extortion, in any number of things, they're probably not working alone.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think I would want to be the dead TikToker.
Well, this is why we talk about this. This is
And
the table of safety.
I appreciate you bringing us another perspective.
And I appreciate you reminding me of the perspective of like...
It wouldn't be super fun.
No, it wouldn't be great for Daniel. Daniel, don't do that.
It wouldn't be super fun if... Well, no, I'm saying our podcast wouldn't be fun if it was only one singular opinion. I appreciate
True.
the devil's advocate. In this case, the devil is wrong.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. But okay,
what if they're wrongly convicted? Because that could still work in his favor.
Okay, yes.
So they're
you
out
could
of
say
jail.
my
Like,
clients were
hey,
wrongly convicted.
crazy story.
Can
And then you can do
believe?
full circle. You actually shoot their wedding and you talk about...
Yes.
You can bring
Okay.
up a positive light.
That's funny as hell.
That's better.
You're allowed to do that.
All right, nice.
You can do that one. That one's funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you...
Your clients are wrongly convicted, and I'm the reason why they were absolved of their crimes.
If you could find out, Daniel, that the photos you took on their day was the same time that the alleged crime happened, maybe you should contact the authorities and find out if you can help
contact
in any
the authorities, get
way.
in touch with them, be like, hey,
Are these people of interest for a
hola, la
specific reason?
policia?
Yeah. Do you want to see the metadata of these files? Because I can tell you where they were at this point in time.
I think that's perfect.
You know,
Yeah.
you could also do a lookup of IP address when they were emailing you to see if they were in a different part of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find out. I'm sure they've tracked it. Who knows?
I'm so intrigued. You know what's really interesting to me is
True crime.
she says there's no evidence of the crime. She doesn't say we didn't do it.
Yeah, where
I
is
mean,
it?
at least not in this one. He said that the client says that there's no evidence of the crime.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear when somebody's accused of a really heinous crime. I want them to be like, well, there's no evidence of
Did
it.
fingerprints? You got blood?
Prove it.
Then I'm walking. I want my lawyer.
Literally
Where's my phone
prove
call?
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an interesting one.
Okay.
What are you gonna do if illegal activity happens while you are shooting?
I have to keep shooting. I think you have a responsibility, and you go wide. You just go wide as possible, and you back up to a corner so there's no one behind you, and maybe you whisper into the mic while you're filming. You're just like, "My name is Timothy Musa. I live address is my phone number. If you need to contact me for further information, please let me know." And then you have that baked into the because if you know something crazy is happening and there's multiple witnesses, you want to be sure that you're getting people in focus because you want to be on the side of helping as opposed to obscuring justice.
I will say at almost I would say 20% of my weddings, we take photos on our phones, videos on our phones that we say, this is just for evidence. And I say that as a joke, not because of a crime being committed, but because I think I'm going to be accused of something going south when it's absolutely not my fault.
Yeah.
So a videographer is running things super long. I will literally take a video of the videographer being like, let's go to this other location out here so that if ever people rewrite history at the end of it, I can say, do you remember? And I've never had to use it.
I've done the same for you in case someone's like being really particular about family formals and you say, are you sure you don't want anything else? Which is why I'll roll on a lot of family formals and they'll say, no, I'm good. And that way it's recorded on video. So if they come back to you say, hey, we didn't do grandma and my aunt Shirley
why didn't I get this
and my
person?
mom, why do we do generational photos?
And I'm like,
I have a recording of you saying you didn't want
remember
it.
when you said. So sometimes we're already doing evidentiary reporting here. Usually we don't need to use it. I've never had to use it, but I think it does make me feel a little bit better knowing that we have like evidence supporting what actually went on, because you know, if you worked in retail or something and something went south, you would have notes like, hey, so-and-so slipped in the store. They said that they're fine. We just wanted to make it's essentially an incident report.
Yeah.
We're making a little incident report as we go of the planner told me that the couple was happy to not do any more family formals. And she told me specifically, the couple doesn't want to talk to you about it. They're stressed and they want to sit and enjoy their meal in silence.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Sounds
I would
great.
probably get the planner to send me a text
sign that?
message.
Yeah.
I would probably get them to send me a text being like,
timestamp this, please.
no more. Or, there's something I would do for sure.
Yeah.
But okay, let's say you can tell, and I've had a fair number of drugs happening at weddings lately.
Yeah.
Okay, this is
Not by us.
to do
We're
like
not
an
like-
absolute crossover of another photographer, you know, Josh Huggett's podcast.
Yes.
He had
Australian chap.
He had Summer on his podcast, or Summer was on.
I think Summer was on his.
Summer was on his,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. And they were talking about cocaine at weddings, and he said he gets offered a line at almost every wedding he does.
Yeah, I believe
and
that.
Summer was so funny. She was like, I'm just going to say I think that's an Australia thing. I don't think that's like a normal thing to be offered coke at weddings.
Yeah.
Josh, I love you, but you have wild clients. And also, I will say,
It is an Australian thing.
it's an Australia thing for sure.
They're wild down there, man.
I have been offered drugs at weddings
Me
too.
too. Well, I was
So
driving
have
a
you.
car. Yeah.
Tim have we told this story?
I don't think so. I was
Can we
driving,
tell it?
Yeah, I was driving a groomsman and the photographer. I was seconding for at the time, back from the location where they were doing photos because he was one extra guy. There wasn't enough room in the limo. I'm not sure why he was in my car.
Insane.
Didn't matter. It was a
Maybe it was
2003
because he
Toyota
was,
Camry.
Maybe it was because he was high and they
Blitzed,
didn't want
and they
him in the
left
car.
That's probably it, actually. In retrospect, that makes a lot of sense. They didn't want to deal with this fucking guy, so
Yeah,
they gave him to
they
me.
were like, take an Uber.
I'm like, sure, jump in the back of the old 2003 Camry. And he sat in the back seat in the middle. And then as I'm driving, myself and the photographer, like maybe less than a kilometer up the hill, he's like, you want a bump? I'm like, no, I'm 2 hands on the wheel right now. And also, no, what are you doing?
Car.
So he had the center console
And
in the
the
middle of
videographer.
us, doing sorting out his little
Cocaine.
vial of cocaine onto a key. It was fun. It was nice.
That's
Great guy.
also that's lore that I tell. I tell that story to
Yeah.
people all the time.
Yeah.
It's my favorite to tell other people's wedding trauma stories because it's
Yeah.
just way funnier. So okay, in that scenario, I guess we know what you did. You went on none of my business.
Nah, dude.
None of my business. I have seen so many people doing drugs in bridal suites,
Bathrooms.
walking into washrooms
Yeah.
that girls don't realize other people are in, or they're just so high
Blitzed
they don't
already, they
care
don't care.
anymore.
Yeah.
We had a bride holding cocaine in her hand at getting ready photos, and she was like, "Oh my god, I had cocaine in my hand in that photo," and it's crazy because I think that you would expect like, oh well, somebody would only feel comfortable saying that to you if they think that you are also partaking.
Yeah.
In no world have Tim and I ever given off the vibe that we are doing drugs.
No.
Or comfortable doing drugs with our clients or I don't think we give off a drug doing vibe. Do we? Or are we just that
I
fun?
hope not. Maybe we're just
so
fun, or they just think, oh, they're chill. It's fine.
They're
I think
chill.
it's less like it's more of like that's not
They
a
don't
narc.
care.
That guy's not a narc.
And
He's
honestly,
chill.
I'm happy about that. I'm happy people don't think that we're narcs. I'm happy
I'm
people
not here
think we're cool.
to be a goalie for your dreams of your wedding day. If you want to get completely rocked, you want to go skiing, live your
the
life.
slopes.
I'm not here to stop that. But if the cops come to my door and say, hey, this person,
The line at which it ends for me is when I
is
can
when
no
I go to
longer
jail.
when I can no longer do the job you've hired me for.
Yeah.
That's what pisses me off. That's the line that really pisses me off. When people are doing, I don't give a shit if it's illegal or not, truthfully. Like what pisses me off about people doing drugs at weddings is that they start out fun time Sally and then
Yeah.
they end up being like dinner plate eyeballs, not paying attention to anything, like little cats and squirrels having conversations together. And I'm like, how do you feel about maybe doing some sunset portraits? Sal,
The grinding through their
Sally,
teeth. Yeah.
right? And Sally is unfortunately incapable of
Sally's drooling,
getting
and crying.
anything together for
Yeah.
25 seconds, right? And
Oh, man.
what maybe was supposed to be like a quick pick me up during the reception has now turned into a whole full out scene.
Yeah.
It happens with alcohol.
Yeah.
It happens with weed, especially now that weed is legalized here. We have people that like indulge a little bit too much. They don't realize how much sun they've had, whatever.
Back home, smoke is legal.
Makes me mad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you hopefully are only gonna have one of these days, and
You want to not remember most of it?
you want to not remember it. And even if it's not the couple, if it's their maid of honor, best man, your wedding party, whatever, it's a weird move to be that rocked on your wedding day for sure.
Having shot a wedding alongside you with surely people who are criminals. We won't name names, but it was a wild day.
I'm trying to think of which one you could mean.
The one where
with
the
all
guy,
of the drugs or
with all the drugs, all of the drugs.
Okay.
It wasn't just the bride and groom doing it. There were family members involved. There were
We had a pre-meeting with the venue.
associates. The venue was very aware that there would likely be cocaine on site.
Yes.
And they were like full.
They
guns
forced the
blazing, but
couple
they had like
to hire extra security for their event because they knew that they would be partying.
yes, partying. So, I think Daniel, you might have dodged a bullet because not to be too general, but birds of a feather tend to flock together. So
Yeah,
if it was
man.
if it was drugs or some kind of illicit activity,
If I could go back and unshoot that wedding, I
Yeah.
would.
Oh,
because there is a line.
10,000%.
There's a line between, these people are wild, but they're fun.
Yeah.
And honestly, I like to photograph people of all different strokes and different personalities, and
Yeah.
it makes my job way more. If I had to shoot the exact same golf course country club wedding every single Saturday with the same, white and green bouquets and pink frilly, whatever chantilly lace situation every single weekend. The guys are all in the same RW and Co. blue or Indochino blue suits, and everybody's nice and normal.
They'd find you hanging like that scene from Wizard of Oz, man. Yeah, you'd be done.
Boring. I want somebody to do something weird and stupid that I can make fun of later.
True.
Okay?
It's good to have variety is the spice of life.
Variety is the spice of life.
But I don't think you want to be subpoenaed by
I want
any
some
kind of government
nonsense.
official.
But when we go into the realm of you have 150 guests
Yeah.
at that wedding, one of the plus ones of a guest screamed at me for taking a photo of her.
Oh yeah. Because she wasn't there with someone. Oh, she should have been there with.
And how did we find that out? But because of my sleuthing skills, I went to the seating chart. I looked up the name of the person she was sitting beside.
Yeah.
I looked him up, and I determined that was in fact not his wife. The boldness of going to a wedding, it's giving Coldplay concert, dude.
She sat right by where everyone walks in for the entrances.
The entrance. And so
Crazy.
I made a friend that night because
yeah.
she screamed at me, I will not be in any photos. You need to delete that. And I was like, I don't get in the habit of deleting images. I don't feel
Sorry,
like I'm not
no?
going to do that. But I lied to her. I was like, oh, sure, not a problem. I'll make sure that doesn't make it into anything.
Banner image.
I said, just so you know, you've been here for like 4 hours, and
Yeah.
you will have been photographed. So I can't really say what's going to happen there. And if you're in like wide shots, I'm just trying to set the stage here.
Yeah.
So like if you're literally in the witness protection program or something, my girl,
Yeah.
you shouldn't probably be at like
A
this
place that
very
has
public wedding.
cameras, yeah.
So I don't get into all the details with her. I just say, yeah, no problem. I'll delete the photo. It's fine. And then like 20 minutes later, we're supposed to do entrances. The doors where the couple is going to walk in, this
sitting
couple
right
that is
there.
rocked off their trees on drugs, she's sitting right in front of the door. So I went up to her and I was like, just so you know, in a couple minutes, the couple's going to enter there. And
You're going to be
if
in
you
it.
don't want to be in any photos, I recommend you
Pick
go.
a wall. Yeah.
And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And she whispers to her date and they both get up from the table and they leave.
Yeah.
They both got up and left and like walked far, far away.
Yeah. Take a walk. Take a walk around
Then
the
she
block.
was nice to me. Because she
Great.
was like, oh, she's a girl's girl. Listen, no, I just don't really feel like being involved in whatever it is you're involved in. But that was one of the very, very few weddings in my 10 plus years as a photographer that I'm like, I wish I could have undone that one.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is an amount of money that will not be fun.
We should have charged way more.
We should have charged
We should
triple.
have tripled it. They didn't even
They
look at
wouldn't
our
even
pricing.
know.
No.
They wouldn't even know.
We
The
could've
crazy
made, like,
thing is,
we could have made like 30 grand each on that wedding. Why did we do that?
You know what's also crazy?
Ah!
You know what's also crazy?
So angry at
is
myself.
they paid us through their
Corporation.
but
Burbank.
I invoiced her personally. So I'm like, you guys have some messy accounting because I'm not above. I don't know if I should say this, but I'm not above invoicing somebody's
No.
corporation for commercial photography. And I don't actually think that it's that insane because people bring associates to their weddings that
Yeah.
I guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not an accountant, but I guarantee that they write off some portion of that because that is like a positive move for your business
For
to
sure.
invite like business associates to your wedding.
So you probably made a good move because appeasing this woman who did not want to be in photographs.
Yeah.
She probably is connected to some very shady legal people who could like find
do
you.
I know?
If you would have made us think about it, like, hey girl, you're in photos. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
You made the right choice. you know?
Yeah.
As Magic Wedding Photographer says, don't be a dick. Choose to not be a dick.
I'm always choosing
Yeah.
to not be a dick
Yeah.
in any circumstance, in any scenario. My goal is to not be a dick.
Yeah.
The line at which that ends is if you are a dick to the people that work for me. If you're a dick to me, I'm like,
I can let that roll off my back
it's
like
honestly
a duck.
it's not worth the effort for me.
Yeah.
The second that you're a dick to somebody that works for me because you think that they're beneath me and therefore they're beneath you, hell no. I have had a few weddings lately where concierges are unkind to my second photographers.
Oh, no.
Or where guests are unkind to my second photographers. And I'm like a mama bear. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I absolutely dare you to say that again. Say
Yeah.
it one more time with me here.
Yeah.
Like we're getting so off topic of criminality. It's just, you know what? I saw a really funny TikTok this morning.
Go for it.
That said, so far you've only met my husband's wife, but you don't want to meet my father's daughter.
That's very
and
true.
honestly, that is so scarily true, because when someone is mean to, I'm like crying laughing.
Yeah.
When someone is mean to my family, an associate, somebody that works for me, I'm like, oh, that's an
Gloves are
absolute
off.
no for me. So
Yeah.
I think in some cases, when you're dealing with criminals, they're going to be extremely kind to you, because honestly, some of the people that I've worked with that are doing degenerate shit are like, they're very humble.
Yeah.
Like very, very humble, very
have to be.
kind.
You wanna
people.
stand out.
Yeah. Like they pay me in cash. They pay on time. I'm
Yeah.
like not mad about it at all.
Yeah.
It's often like the, people in tech sales that are the worst, but or work at banks or something. I don't know. A lot, not to
generalize.
They sound so specific. I have lots of friends in tech and lots of
A lot of them
great
are
clients
great.
at banks.
It's not you if you're listening. You're
Just
wonderful.
Some people are jerks, and sometimes people that do drugs are kind.
Daniel, we hope you've gotten something from this. It's been a bit
We've
of
taken an absolute tour here.
a runaway train, but we hopefully you've learned a bit about your values, what you want out of this world and what you want out of this business, and you've grown a bit. And I think you should probably not use those photos.
You should probably not use those photos.
No.
1 year in to be experiencing these things.
Yeah.
Here's what I want you to do that I didn't do.
Okay.
Write this shit down.
Yeah.
Make a Google Doc called "Insane Shit That's Happened to Me," and write this stuff down, please, because I wish that we had made a list. We, like you, me, Nova, we have always said we were going to write a book. Like we're going to make like our swan song out of the industry, and we're going to, and I really, that's kind of what this podcast has turned into, not the swan song out of the industry.
We're leaving.
But we start actually telling the stories, because we've never, I think we're enough years apart from these stories now. We're not telling stories of things that happened this year.
You won't hear
we will pretty much never, even when we're telling these stories, I don't think these clients would ever know that we're talking about them.
Someone
truthfully.
listen, though. Someone listen. We know you listen.
And
We
that's
love you.
but I don't think that most of them would ever know.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that the groomsman doing the lines of coke off your Camry?
He's
do you
dead.
Think,
Guaranteed he's
Oh,
dead.
he's not. I
No.
know him, and
Oh,
he's
really?
not.
Oh,
Yes,
shit.
we went to high school together.
Oh, no, really?
It's a small town, dude. I remember the wedding very clearly.
All right.
But that couple, I guarantee, doesn't know anything.
No,
right?
they have no idea.
And most of our couples, like that, we have insane stuff happening at their weddings. They have no idea, and I absolutely love that for them, because listen. Tim and I are human beings too, and I guarantee I said and did some dumb shit at my own wedding that I hope that my photographer is not associating my name with at the very least. Tell the story. By all means, tell the story. If it's good lore, you got to tell it.
Yeah.
Just keep me out of it. Lead with your values. Make sure you have a bulletproof contract, my guy. And make sure that your contracts, regardless of where you live, are effective for your area. That's why it's so important to actually hire a lawyer to go over your contract. There's like the Law Tog or whatever. They have like an actual like legal database for contracts and stuff. I think that it's pretty good. I've never used it, but many, many people recommend Law Tog.
Yeah.
So I would probably start there, but then I would hire a lawyer
to look it over
in Mexico City that can look it over. And that goes for everybody listening to this, to make sure that your contracts are solid. Go writing random clauses in if you want to, but I think it's always going to be better to have like a rock solid contract that just covers you for all kinds of shit. Listen, if anybody listening to this has anywhere near as juicy of a story as Daniel has just brought us, please bring it to us.
We're here. Bring it to us.
This has made my day, week, and month hearing about this. Daniel, the only thing that could make it better is if you give me a little bit more information.
Follow up, please.
Because it's just making it a little bit hard for me to do any sleuthing. But I would love to know.
Yeah.
First and last name. No, I'm just kidding. I would love to know what they were accused of. I think that would help my scenario, even just for me to sleep better at night. But if you guys have any stories, it's a Shoot Your Shot podcast. Please shoot your shot. You can send us a DM. You can send us a voice note. You can send us a
Those two
video.
things.
We love a
Yes,
video.
we love a video. Show your face.
Show your face.
Yeah.
That's so much fun. As much fun as I have reading these things, it's going to be better coming from you guys. Okay.
Much.
It's a lot of words on the screen. I'd love
Good
to
grief.
see your face.
Yeah.
But we'll take your stories any way we can get them. You got stories about weddings. You got stories about clients that you want to remain anonymous on. We're here for it. We love them. We'll see you on Monday. And we hope that we have another juicy one to bring you.
Like, comment, subscribe. Love you guys.
Toodles.
Bye.